The bullet passed just 2 centimeters from Pete Hegseth's ear. The gunshot echoing through the Pentagon's third-floor corridor marked the beginning of the most courageous defense secretary story in American history. The assassin had fired from 47 meters away, but Hegseth's reflexes had saved him. However, the real question was, who and why was someone trying to kill the defense secretary in America's most secure building? The C-ring corridor on the Pentagon's third floor maintained its characteristic institutional quiet on Saturday, December 14, 2024, at exactly 2:47 p.m. The weekend staffing protocols had reduced the building's population to essential personnel only, creating an atmosphere of controlled emptiness. The polished linoleum floors stretched endlessly under harsh fluorescent lighting, reflecting the sterile efficiency that defined America's military headquarters. Pete Hegseth had been serving as the United States Secretary of Defense for 18 months, a tenure marked by complex global challenges and critical decision-making affecting millions of lives worldwide. The 44-year-old former soldier and Fox News host brought a unique combination of combat experience, media expertise and policy knowledge to one of the most demanding positions in American government. His background was impressive and diverse. After graduating magna cum laude from Princeton University with a Bachelor of Arts in Politics, he pursued a Master of Public Policy degree at Harvard Kennedy School, specializing in national security studies. These academic achievements provided the intellectual foundation for understanding complex geopolitical dynamics and strategic policy implications. His military service had been distinguished and transformative. Following officer candidate school, he served with the 101st Airborne Division during Operation Iraqi Freedom, participating in intense urban warfare operations in Fallujah and Ramadi. His second deployment took him to Afghanistan with the 82nd Airborne Division, where he led counter-terrorism operations in mountainous regions near the Pakistani border. During his military career, Hegseth earned numerous commendations, including the Bronze Star Medal for Valor in Combat, the Purple Heart for wounds received in action, and the Combat Infantry Badge. These awards represented more than personal recognition. They validated his tactical expertise, leadership under extreme pressure, and ability to make life-or-death decisions while protecting his subordinates' lives. His transition to media had been natural and successful. 8 years at Fox News as host of Weekend at War and frequent primetime contributor had honed his communication skills while expanding his strategic perspective. He had interviewed generals, policymakers, wounded veterans, and international leaders, gradually developing comprehensive understanding of military action and diplomatic initiatives. This particular Saturday, despite being his normal day for family time and personal rest, Hegseth had responded to an urgent summons for emergency briefings regarding rapidly developing Middle East tensions. Intelligence reports from CIA field stations, NSA communication intercepts, and DIA human intelligence networks painted a troubling picture of escalating crisis requiring immediate high-level attention. The situation was multifaceted and dangerous. Iran's nuclear program had shown unexpected acceleration toward weapons capability, with satellite imagery revealing construction activities at previously unknown facilities. Israeli military preparations suggested potential preemptive strike planning that could destabilize the entire region and potentially draw the United States into direct military conflict. Simultaneously, Russian naval buildup in the eastern Mediterranean indicated possible coordination with Iranian forces, creating potential for multi-front crisis. Chinese military activities in the South China Sea had intensified with unprecedented naval exercises, suggesting possible preparation for Taiwan operations. The convergence of these multiple crisis points had created a strategic environment demanding weekend emergency planning. The critical briefing had taken place in INC, Sensitive Compartmented Information Facility C312, one of the Pentagon's most secure conference rooms. The facility was electromagnetically shielded, acoustically isolated, and equipped with advanced counter-surveillance technology preventing electronic eavesdropping by hostile forces. Participants included Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman General Marcus Rodriguez, CIA Director Dr. Patricia Wells, NSA Director Admiral James Morrison, and DIA Director Colonel Sarah Chen. The 17-minute briefing had been intense and comprehensive, with Hegseth receiving detailed intelligence assessments and recommendations for immediate action. Critical decisions made during the meeting included authorization of enhanced intelligence collection efforts, increased force protection measures for deployed American forces, diplomatic outreach coordination with key allies, and preliminary preparation for potential military response options. Each authorization required biometric confirmation and created an unbreakable command authority chain. When the briefing concluded, other participants departed using the secure elevator system. However, Hegseth decided to retrieve additional classified documents from his personal office, essential for follow-up meetings and continued crisis management as the situation developed. His office was located on the same floor, approximately 200 meters down the corridor from the SEF facility. Under normal circumstances, such a short distance within the Pentagon's secure perimeter would not require escort protection. The building's internal security was considered among the world's most sophisticated. However, what Pete Hegseth could not have known was that during the previous 72 hours, the Pentagon's security perimeter had been systematically compromised through one of the most sophisticated intelligence operations ever attempted against American government infrastructure. Professional operatives had successfully infiltrated the building's internal defense systems. This operation represented months of detailed planning, reconnaissance, and preparation. The assassination plot, targeting the defense secretary, was the most ambitious and technically complex operation ever attempted within the Pentagon's 82-year. The sophistication level suggested state-level involvement with capabilities exceeding traditional terrorist organizations. As Hegseth walked down the corridor toward his office, the combat experience acquired during military deployments remained constantly active in his subconscious awareness. The tactical skills developed during Iraq and Afghanistan tours had become second nature, creating automatic threat assessment capabilities. His peripheral vision constantly scanned the environment for anomalies, unusual movements, or potential threats. His auditory senses remained alert to sounds indicating danger. His spatial awareness automatically identified potential cover positions, escape routes, and tactical advantages available in emergency situations. When Hegseth reached a position exactly 47 meters from his office door, his peripheral vision detected movement at the corridor's far end. The movement pattern was inconsistent with normal pedestrian traffic, suggesting deliberate positioning. Reflexively turning to assess the potential threat, he observed a figure dressed in dark tactical clothing positioned in a professional shooting stance. The individual held what his military experience immediately identified as a precision rifle specifically designed for long-range accuracy and lethal effectiveness. The weapon's profile, scope configuration, and stock design indicated professional-grade equipment. This weaponry level suggested extensive planning, significant financial resources, and access to restricted military supplies. In that critical moment, Hegseth's brain processed multiple calculations simultaneously. Distance between himself and the shooter, 47 meters. Weapon type being employed, precision rifle with scope. Shooter's position, elevated stance with stable platform. Available cover options, limited office doorways, and escape routes, distant emergency exits. The individual holding the weapon displayed obvious professional training in marksmanship and tactical positioning. The shooting stance was textbook perfect, indicating formal military or special operations instruction. Breathing appeared controlled and steady, suggesting experience under pressure. Weapon handling demonstrated familiarity and expertise developable only through extensive training. In the critical split second when Hegseth's conscious mind registered immediate danger, his muscle memory and combat reflexes automatically controlled his physical responses. His body instinctively shifted into defensive posture, weight transferring to the balls of his feet, center of gravity lowering, and muscles preparing for explosive movement. The muzzle flash created a brief orange glow at the corridor's far end. This visual confirmation allowed Hegseth to precisely identify the shooter's location and confirm the threat assessment his subconscious had been processing since first detecting the movement. The bullet's trajectory carried it past Hegseth's right ear with exactly 2 centimeters margin. The air displacement from the high-velocity projectile was clearly perceptible, creating a distinctive sensation, confirming how close the shot had come to achieving its lethal objective. Sound waves generated by the bullet's air passage created an echo effect in the enclosed corridor. Instantly, Hegseth's military training and combat experience took complete control of his responses. This exact scenario had been drilled dozens of times during military training exercises. Active shooter in confined space, limited cover options, immediate survival response needed. The priority sequence was clear: survive immediate threat, assess tactical situation, implement appropriate counteraction. Without conscious thought, Hegseth executed a combat roll to his right side, seeking whatever minimal cover was available from the nearest office doorway. The movement was pure muscle memory, developed through countless training hours and refined through actual combat experience in Afghanistan, where Taliban snipers frequently engaged American forces. His body automatically assumed a compact defensive position designed to protect vital organs while maintaining mobility and visual observation of the threat. This position had been practiced until automatic, ensuring that even under extreme stress, correct tactical response would be executed without conscious decision-making delays. The second shot was fired exactly 1.3 seconds after the first, demonstrating the shooter's professional training and equipment capabilities. Professional snipers using bolt-action rifles typically maintain rate of fire between 2 to 3 seconds per shot. This timing confirmed that the shooter possessed expertise consistent with military or special operations background. The second bullet was aimed at the location where Hegseth had been standing when the first shot was fired, indicating the shooter was compensating for target movement but had not yet adjusted for Hegseth's defensive maneuver. The projectile struck the corridor wall with sufficient force to create visible damage, demonstrating the weapon's power. From his covered position, Hegseth rapidly assessed the tactical environment and available options. The corridor's layout provided the shooter with clear line of sight and significant range advantage, but also offered Hegseth strategic opportunities if he could successfully close distance or reach a more defensible position. Before the shooter could attempt a third shot, Hegseth made the tactical decision to transition from passive defense to offensive action. Remaining in defensive position would eventually lead to failure, as the shooter maintained significant advantages in position, equipment, and initiative. Hegseth quickly inventoried items available in his pockets: Pentagon identification badge, metal construction, potential distraction capability, cellular phone communication capability, office keys, minimal tactical utility, and tactical pen limited defensive capability. No weapons or protective equipment were immediately available. Hegseth selected a tactical approach, incorporating innovations developed during Afghanistan combat experience. He would use his Pentagon identification badge to create light reflection, temporarily disrupting the shooter's sight picture, while simultaneously executing diagonal movement pattern designed to confuse trajectory prediction. During execution phase, Hegseth positioned his identification badge to catch and reflect light from overhead fluorescent fixtures, directing the reflected beam toward the shooter's approximate position. This technique, learned during night operations, could temporarily interfere with optical sighting equipment. The light reflection technique achieved its intended effect. The concentrated beam struck the shooter's position, causing automatic flinch response and temporarily disrupting sight picture through the rifle scope. This momentary distraction created the tactical window Hegseth needed. At the exact moment of maximum distraction, Hegseth launched into diagonal sprint, executing zigzag movement pattern developed through combat experience. The pattern was designed to present unpredictable target while maintaining maximum speed toward the objective. The fourth shot, fired during Hegseth's movement phase, was aimed at his predicted position based on initial movement vector analysis. However, the diagonal approach and zigzag pattern confused the shooter's calculation, causing the bullet to pass approximately 4 feet to the left of Hegseth's actual position. The distance between Hegseth and the shooter rapidly decreased from 47 meters to 35, then to 25. Each step forward moved Hegseth outside the shooter's optimal engagement zone. Sniper rifles are specifically designed for long-range accuracy. Their effectiveness dramatically decreases in close-quarters engagement scenarios. At 20 meters distance, Hegseth could clearly observe details about the shooter and tactical situation. The individual wore military-style tactical gear, including body armor, tactical vest with equipment pouches, and professional-grade communications equipment. Weapon handling demonstrated extensive training and familiarity. At 15 meters, the shooter attempted to transition the weapon to different configuration, possibly switching from precision shooting mode to rapid engagement mode. This transition represented vulnerability moment when weapon effectiveness was temporarily reduced and shooter's attention was divided. Hegseth recognized this transition moment as critical tactical opportunity. His Afghanistan combat experience had taught him to identify and exploit exactly these types of vulnerabilities when engaging enemy forces in close-quarters combat situations. The final 10 meters were covered by Hegseth at maximum speed, utilizing every technique learned during close-quarters battle training and combat experience. The shooter was unable to complete weapon configuration transition before physical contact became inevitable. The physical confrontation drew upon every aspect of Hegseth's military close-quarters combat instruction. Army hand-to-hand combat training was specifically designed for life-or-death situations where weapons had been lost or disabled, requiring soldiers to neutralize armed opponents using physical techniques and tactical psychology. The engagement lasted approximately 45 seconds of intense physical combat. Hegseth's combatives training, combined with his combat experience and superior motivation, allowed him to successfully subdue the opponent. During the struggle, he managed to secure control of the weapon and restrain the individual. During the physical confrontation, the shooter's facial concealment was partially removed, revealing features that caused Hegseth complete shock and disbelief. The individual was someone he recognized, Sergeant First Class Michael Torres, a member of the Pentagon's elite security detail with 8 years of exemplary military service. Torres had been part of the security team responsible for protecting Hegseth's office area for the past 6 months. His background investigation had revealed no negative indicators, excellent performance evaluations, multiple commendations for duty excellence, and positive colleague feedback. More confusing was Torres's current condition. While subdued and restrained, he was not unconscious. His eyes showed combination of confusion, fear, and what appeared to be regret or relief. The expression suggested he was aware of his actions but confused about motivations, as if operating under external influence. At this critical moment, the Pentagon's emergency response protocols activated automatically. The building's acoustic detection systems had registered gunshots and immediately triggered building-wide security alerts. Emergency response teams began converging on the location. First responders arrived at the scene exactly 3 minutes and 17 seconds after the initial gunshot, reflecting the Pentagon's state-of-the-art emergency procedures. The response team included Pentagon emergency response specialists, medical personnel, security investigators, and command staff. Hegseth was immediately subjected to medical evaluation to assess any injuries sustained during the incident. The medical examination revealed minor abrasions from physical confrontation, elevated stress indicators, but no serious physical damage. His vital signs indicated excellent physical condition and remarkable psychological stability. Torres was also provided immediate medical attention before being transferred to secure custody. The initial medical evaluation revealed startling discovery. Torres's blood contained unknown chemical substances that required immediate analysis by specialized toxicology laboratories. The toxicology analysis revealed sophisticated chemical compounds typically associated with mind control research, behavior modification experiments, and memory manipulation techniques. These substances were not commonly available and required advanced pharmaceutical knowledge to synthesize. The presence suggested Torres had been chemically compromised and programmed. This discovery completely transformed the context and implications of the entire incident. Torres was potentially a victim rather than voluntary perpetrator. Someone with access to advanced chemical agents had systematically compromised a trusted Pentagon security officer and programmed him to attempt assassination. The sophistication level indicated state-level resources and capabilities. The chemical compounds were consistent with advanced research programs conducted by intelligence agencies with significant scientific resources and decades of experience in behavioral modification techniques. Initial investigation revealed additional disturbing facts about Torres's recent activities. Investigators reviewing his movements during the previous 72 hours discovered numerous unusual patterns that had not been detected by routine security monitoring systems. Torres's normal duty schedule had been significantly altered during the past week, with changes placing him in positions with access to sensitive areas. His personal communications had shown unusual patterns, including contacts with individuals who could not be immediately identified through standard databases. Most concerning was discovery that Torres had no clear recollection of certain activities during the previous 7. Medical examination revealed selective memory gaps, consistent with chemical influence designed to create temporary amnesia about specific events while leaving other memories intact. The Pentagon's highest leadership levels immediately convened emergency meetings to address the incident and its implications. An assassination attempt against the Defense Secretary represented the ultimate breach of national security, with implications extending far beyond immediate threat to one individual. Intelligence agency immediately launched comprehensive investigations using every available resource. The CIA, NSA, FBI and DIA dedicated significant assets to coordinated effort designed to identify chemical compound sources, trace operational network responsible for attack, and prevent future incidents. Initial findings strongly suggested sophisticated state actor involvement. The chemical compounds required advanced pharmaceutical research capabilities, typically available only to government-sponsored research programs. Distribution methods showed hallmarks of professional intelligence operations with extensive resources. Target selection and operational planning indicated detailed intelligence about Pentagon security procedures, personnel schedules, and defensive vulnerabilities that would require either extensive reconnaissance or insider access to classified information. Hegseth participated in extensive debriefing sessions following his medical clearance, providing detailed accounts of every incident aspect for analysis by intelligence professionals. The debriefing process covered Shooter's approach, Hegseth's tactical responses, physical confrontation, and discovery of Torres's compromised condition. The critical role of Hegseth's combat experience became increasingly evident to analysts. Statistical analysis suggested average civilian would have had minimal survival probability in this scenario. Military training had provided Hegseth with reflexes, tactical awareness and decision-making capabilities that created life-saving difference. Investigation revealed that Torres was not an isolated case. Additional security personnel showed traces of chemical exposure, although at levels insufficient to trigger extreme behavioral modification. The scope of compromise operation was far larger than initially understood. Chemical analysis results traced compounds to international sources with connections to advanced research facilities and intelligence agencies known for sophisticated operational capabilities. Manufacturing processes required specialized equipment that significantly narrowed potential sources. Counterintelligence operations were immediately expanded to address broader threat. Pentagon security protocols underwent comprehensive review and enhancement. Personnel screening procedures were strengthened with additional psychological evaluation and chemical testing components. Pete Hegseth's response during and after the incident received widespread recognition within national security community. His calm performance under extreme pressure, effective tactical decision-making, and successful defense became studied case within professional military training programs. Long-term consequences fundamentally changed Pentagon's security philosophy. Internal threat assessment received priority equal to external threats, with recognition that traditional security models had not adequately addressed possibility of chemical compromise of trusted personnel. Sergeant First Class Torres underwent extensive medical treatment and deprogramming procedures designed to reverse effects of chemical manipulation. Recovery process was gradual but ultimately successful, with normal memory and personality function returning over several months. Final analysis determined assassination attempt had been part of multi-layered intelligence operation designed to compromise Pentagon security infrastructure and potentially destabilize American defense leadership. Foreign state actors had systematically attempted to breach security systems through chemical manipulation. Hegseth's survival and successful defense contributed to failure of broader operation and provided intelligence gains that enabled development of effective countermeasures. Incident strengthened international cooperation in addressing similar threats and enhanced security procedures throughout American defense establishment. Months later, Pete Hegseth reflected on experience. That day taught me that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's taking action despite fear. When that bullet passed my ear, I had a choice. Freeze or fight. Military training prepared my body, but duty to country guided my spirit. The real victory wasn't surviving the attack, it was preventing future attacks through lessons learned. In corridors of Pentagon, discreet memorial plaque was installed. Vigilance, courage, service. December 14, 2024. Below, when democracy faces threats, heroes emerge from ordinary people doing extraordinary things under extraordinary circumstances. The assassination attempt had targeted more than one individual. It had attacked heart of American democracy. Pete Hegseth's courageous response not only saved his own life, but led to strengthening of American security infrastructure and enhanced protection for future leaders.